people try to silo you and tell you not to do certain things, but it all informs, your work. Working in one thing just makes you better at the other thing. So I don't really know why anyone demands that you devote yourself to one specific thing.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Scene Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Borak, and oh my gosh, it's been so long. We were at Texas Thespians, so I guess it hasn't been super long, but it's been long since we've done like an actual legit Scene episode, and a lot has happened since then. I moved to New York so I can be with all of my friends. I'm here with, I'm literally recording in the Scene Library, which is a very cool place that we record now. And I am having a wonderful time. I'm here with KJ, my beautiful, wonderful producer. Say hello, KJ.
Oh my God, hi. Can you believe that we're like literally standing inches away from each other? I can feel your breath on mine.
KJ's not a good enough editor to make this feel this real, right?
Can you feel it?
Can you feel it?
The sensation you're feeling right now.
It's beautiful. Yeah, KJ's here. We're all here. It's fun. It's cool. It's good. Oh my God. I live in New York. We're here like recording the actual podcast. And we have some amazing interviews coming up, including today. Oh boy, today we got to talk to Ian McWethy and Carrie McCrossen. Two of like the coolest people I've ever met. Husband, wife, writing, performance team. They are just like the raddest people in the world. I'm surrounded by plays. I think maybe when this comes out, I'll like try to post a photo of our setup, because if you have listened to this podcast and you know how obsessed I am with plays, you will know I'm in a personal heaven. This is what I think the perfect afterlife would be for me. Just me sitting in a little nook in the corner, surrounded by probably like 1,000 to 2,000 plays. Maybe it's like 200. I don't really know how to count. Whatever. Guys, let's talk to Carrie McCrossen and Ian McWethy, because yeah. Okay, let's do that. What's up, everybody? This is a new segment that we're doing on the show called Four Favorites. I don't know if it's always going to be a surprise, but I decided to open this segment off with one of my favorite people. We all know her from her infamous episode, the Texas Thespians episode.
Not that infamous. You're so dramatic.
Rachel Carmona's here. Rachel, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Rachel was in the middle of working, and I just said, "Hey, you got a stopping point?" And she was like, "I guess," and I just started recording. So I had an idea for a segment that I'm fully not stealing from Letterboxd, so I'm not. But it's called Four Favorites. Fully their thing. I wanted to like get people from that are scene or scene adjacent people like yourself to come on the show and tell me your four favorite theater experiences. Now, this can be shows that you've seen, shows that you've read, shows that you've been in, shows that you participated in, anything like that. So you are our inaugural guest on this segment. If it goes poorly, we'll never get to do. My producer will say never do it again. So just know there's a lot riding on this. But
God.
Rachel, do you understand the task?
Yes, I think so.
All right.
Yes.
May you start with number one. Wait. Oh, I didn't turn on the sound effect.
That was really sad.
I hit a button to do a sound effect, and it was fully. That's so funny. Okay, ready? And and Rachel Carmona, everybody.
Oh, that's actually cool. Better than the crickets.
Yeah. One time, I don't know if you guys remember the Texas Thespian episode, but Rachel was like, "I want to hit a button," and did this. And she didn't hear it either, so it was just silent for a second. She's like, "What is it?" And I was like, "It's crickets." And she's like, "Oh man." That's so funny. Okay, what's your first one?
First one.
Four favorites.
I think I'm gonna say this. It's Water for Elephants. I'm gonna say this.
Okay, talk about it.
So I saw it during previews. Was amazed.
On Broadway, right?
On Broadway.
Okay, because it was at the Alliance before in Atlanta, and then it came up here.
Yeah.
Water for Elephants, you don't know, based on the movie, book by Rick Ellis, music by Pigpen, a really wonderful musical about a circus and the inner workings of the people that are the working there, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
The circus, yeah. No, I enjoyed it. The acrobats, the story. Have I read the book? Yes, I've read the book. I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
So I was already ready. I was like, let's do this. And so they did really well.
Yeah.
Adapting the movie and everything.
Yeah. The intertwining of the like circus, of the acrobats and the show itself was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the puppets were fun.
The elephant puppet is so
I was so
good.
excited. I was like, are they going to do it? Are they going to? I was just waiting. I was like, and I see her and I was like, yes, they did it.
Mhm. I saw it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I saw it 4 times. Yeah.
It's so good. It is so good. And it's going on tour.
It's going on tour.
Dude, one of the first shows I brought my parents to when I moved to New York, and it's opening tour in Cleveland. And my dad texted me saying, "Going back to Water for Elephants."
I mean,
He's so
why
excited.
not?
Exactly. But yeah, okay, cool. Good number
Yeah.
1.
So
All
that's
right.
number 1.
What's number 2? Oh, geez. I told you this the other day.
I
we were
know,
doing this.
I was
I told you
not
this weeks ago
thinking.
that we were doing this.
Really?
Yeah, before the John, you remember before there was another episode like weeks ago where I was like, "Do you want to do this 4 favorite segment?" You were like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
You've had weeks to think.
Yeah. No.
Okay, what's your number 2?
I'm trying to think.
Oh my gosh.
Hold on.
This segment's gonna get cut. I see
Damn it.
KJ in the corner getting ready to cut the
He's
segment.
just gonna come around the corner and be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Sorry." Why 4? Can you just do 2?
No, it's 4 favorites. It's either
Okay, is 4 favorites that been on Broadway?
No, anything. It could be
Anything?
anything you've seen anywhere. It could be anything you've read at any time. It could be anything you've participated in or worked on or been in. Whatever you want. Just 4 favorite theater experiences.
Oh, jeez. Oh, you know what? There
Yeah?
was one, and I
know
forgot.
one of yours
Which one?
that you aren't even saying.
Which one?
There's a certain show that you've seen so many times.
Moulin Rouge?
Yeah, it has to be
Oh,
one
yeah,
of your
that
top 4
one's- I thought
impactful.
we spoke about this last time.
Yeah, but this is your 4 favorites. Is it? It should
is-
live
it
within.
is-
It
it
should
is-
be in your Mount
It should-
Rushmore.
no. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in your Mount Rushmore. Can you explain in a couple seconds why you keep seeing it? Because
I'm actually seeing it
I know
on my
you
birthday
are.
week.
Yeah.
I'm so
Earlier
excited.
today, I heard that Rachel was like, "I'm seeing it again on my birthday."
I might even see it before.
That's okay. Here's the thing. I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I'm sure it's great. I just I don't know many people that see the same show period so many times.
Yeah.
So why do that?
I love a good jukebox. And
There's so many jukebox musicals.
But here's the thing. I've seen Anne Juliet 3 times.
Yeah.
Will I see it again? Most likely, yeah. But it's not like over and over. But there's something about Moulin Rouge that it's like, I don't know if you've never been inside the theater. They literally,
No, I haven't.
like, the theater doesn't look like a theater.
Really?
You walk in. Yes.
I need to see it.
Gorgeous.
You need to bring me.
Well, we can go. I just bought a ticket.
We should go.
It's like,
I don't
Could
want to
be
go see
cheap.
Moulin Rouge without you. I feel like I have
oh
to
my
see it
God,
with
I'm going to freak out. You have no idea.
you. Okay, so Moulin Rouge and Water for
Okay,
Elephants.
Water for Elephants, Moulin Rouge. There was a show that was on, I think it's Theater 55,
Yeah.
and it was a spooky show, and I don't like spooky stuff.
Okay.
And I don't remember what it's called, but it was so
Wait,
good.
so
I might,
what are your top
I
4
know,
shows?
It's so good, but I don't remember.
What are your 4 favorites of something you don't
I don't
remember?
remember. That's really bad.
That's insane.
Okay, so skip over that. KJ, you're gonna have to edit that out. Just edit that out.
We're on my. I don't even know which part we'll get there.
We'll get it. Oh gosh. Okay, 3, 4. Let's see.
Wait, Theater 555 in New York?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was back in 2000. 2000.
It was back in. You
Not
even know the
2000.
year?
It's 2020. I think I saw it 2022.
Oh my gosh. You're making this the hard. I'm not going to be able to find this.
I'm gonna find it and we would tell you, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, it was this."
Send me a voice memo and I'll
will.
send it to KJ, and KJ can edit it in right now. Okay, this is. Oh, so this is for KJ in the future. We researched it after we stopped recording. It was Whisper House.
Whisper House.
Whisper House 2022.
Whisper
At
at 59E59.
By
I have been at theater.
by Duncan Sheik and the
Sheik.
Civilians.
Yes.
Was it? And it was horror.
It was like creepy, scary ghost story,
I love that.
and it was so cool.
I love that you picked like 3 huge mainstream musicals
And
on
then this
Broadway,
random
and then
one?
this random one.
I didn't know I was gonna like it, and I liked it.
All right, good. Okay.
Okay.
So that was your number 3.
That was number 3. So for let's see. Actually, it would be Waitress. I saw Sarah Bareilles.
Oh, you saw Sarah Bareilles?
And it was amazing. I was in the
Really?
back of the mezzanine, but
It's one
man,
of those shows.
I cried.
It's one of those shows that I never saw,
so
and
good.
I really wanted to see, and now it's getting done everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's doing
Yeah,
it.
everyone's doing Waitress, but that was the first time I love Sarah Bareilles. I've loved her from.
Did you see her in Into the Woods?
No. Oh, wait, yes, I did. I saw her and Stephanie Block.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
I saw Into the Woods 6 times.
Oh my gosh.
That's a different story. But I saw it at City Center.
Yeah.
And then I saw it when it transferred several
Okay.
times. So, but yeah, I love that one. That was another one's a good one. But Waitress, seeing it, that was my second show in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Right when Broadway opened.
Oh, like after, like when it
Yeah.
came back from COVID?
Yeah, because that was the second show at that theater.
What was your first show that you saw?
Lackawanna Blues.
Lackawanna Blues?
Mhm.
Wait, who wrote that? Why do I know that?
It's a one-man play.
Is that Dominique Morceau? It might be. I'm
It
trying to think
might
who
be.
wrote-
We got tickets, and I was like, let's go. It's our first Broadway show. The first one that, it wasn't the first one to open. It was the first one I went to when
Ruben
Broadway.
Santiago Hudson. Okay, I've never heard of this play before.
It was
actually.
really funny.
Really?
Yeah. And it's a
Okay.
one man, and he does all the parts. It was cool. It was
Okay,
really
cool.
And then the next one came in was Waitress.
Yeah.
From there. So
Okay. Usually this is where this segment would end, but just because I like talking to my friend Rachel, tell me the thing you're most excited about for the 2025 New York theater season. Also, I want everyone to know Rachel works in the theater industry with me. Like, we work together in the theater industry. Rachel's one of the only people I know in the theater industry that like isn't a like performer or like isn't like someone who like builds shows. So she sees so much theater more than anyone I know, anyone I've met. So like whenever I'm like gonna go see something or thinking about seeing something, I go to Rachel usually first.
You're
So
like, do you want to go to this? I'm like, sure, why not?
you've already seen it 5 times. Wait, so what is something you're most excited for?
Oh my God,
Doesn't have to be like,
Smash.
Smash. My friend's producing that. Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh,
I heard amazing things.
I think I might end up spending a lot of money. I'm putting it out there because I love the show.
Sometimes you gotta do it.
And I have the show on digital and I watch it all the time. It's
Yeah.
like my comfort show. And then I missed the charity event when they did Bombshell. I was so pissed. I was out of town
Oh.
or I would have bought a ticket.
Yeah.
And then I didn't win the lottery for the reading, which I was upset too. So I was like, nope, I'm going.
Yeah.
It will be front row. I will spend that $400 front row. I want to see this so bad.
It's gonna be good.
I'm so
I'm
excited. That
excited.
one I'm excited.
I can't wait to see Othello.
Okay, that one I'm interested in it.
I love
'Cause I love that
Shakespeare.
story.
I love that story. And Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal is gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I might have some connections for tickets, so I'm working on that. We'll see what happens.
I love being friends with Rachel. Okay, Rachel, do you want to plug anything?
Haters gonna hate.
We'll talk about that another day. All right, goodbye.
Bye.
The Scene Podcast is sponsored by Broadway Book Club, the only subscription box that delivers the magic of theater straight to your door. 7 scripts delivered 4 times a year, from Broadway hits to hidden gems. Broadway Book Club is perfect for theater lovers, educators, and performers alike. It's the easiest way to grow your library and spark your next great production. Join the club. Learn more at BroadwayBookClub.com. Ian McWethy and Carrie McCrossen, how are you guys?
Great.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Pronounced
No, of
my
course.
last name correctly, which is
That never happens.
It's never
Did I
happened.
get them right?
We're already off to
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
start. Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, that's
McWethy.
First
huge
You got
for
it.
time.
me. Oh, I'm so pumped. Well, if you don't know who they are, that's very surprising. I'm going to list off all of their accolades. Ian McWethy is the author of over 50 plays that I stole these from your website because both of you have really nice websites. Ian
That is
McWethy-
generous. I need to redo mine. I'm in the middle
I
of
liked your
revamping mine.
website. I thought it was nice.
Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, it will be revamped and new.
that'd
It
be
is
good.
pretty, but thank you for saying that. That is
No, of course.
That is
I thought it was great. Ian McWethy is the author of over 50 plays that have been published by play scripts and stage partners, including Bad Auditions by Bad Actors, 13 Ways to Screw Up Your College Interviews, and Superheroes. They've been performed over 10,000 times in all 50 states, as well as internationally in 50 different countries. He's also the author of 2 novels, Margot Mertz.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're
Boom.
doing great.
Oh, I'm doing pronunciation so well today.
Yeah.
Margot Mertz
Yeah.
takes it down, and Margot Mertz for the win, co-written with his wife, Carrie McCrossen. Carrie McCrossen is an actor, writer, comedian who loves a good hyphen. I really love that sentence. That was a good sentence. She's a longtime performer at UCB in New York, and she's appeared on TV shows like Divorce, Adam Ruins Everything, and The Rundown. Carrie's writing has appeared in The New Yorker's Daily Shouts, The Lifetime Network, and on Funny or Die. Their plays include or have been featured in Don't Blame Me, I'm Just a Playwright, Influencer Nation, I Did It, and The Alibis. Together, they've written The Great American College Tour, Talent Show Fail, This Is Your Brain on Social Media, and 3 Lifetime movies. They've written so many pieces together and separately, and are one of the best husband-wife writing teams in the freaking industry. Carrie and Ian.
Wow. Take that couple who wrote Yellow Jackets.
Exactly. We're taking a hard stance against the couple who wrote Yellow Jackets today. You both have written so much. You both have huge, massive careers like in writing across kind of the gamut of writing. I want to hear how like both of you kind of found your start in this work.
Yeah. Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, I think I was always just someone who liked to write or write things. I wrote sketches and plays when I was in high school, and then in college. I was not admitted into the playwriting program, but I still did it. So I guess there was something in me that was just like, it's more like a compulsion than like a dream, I guess. It's like I just couldn't stop myself. Then out of college, I did a couple like self-produced plays that like one was in the Fringe Festival, one I had a friend help me produce. And I had different friends who were doing different things. And along that time, my friend Jason Pizzarello got a play published by Playscripts when they were very new. You know, it was like a bunch of Jonathan Rand plays, and I think they just got a few Don Zolaitis plays, but they were really trying to like grow the catalog. And that was all thanks to, honestly, to Morgan Jeunesse, who was this amazing dramaturg who just passed away. She's sort of like this legend in off-Broadway who was our theater professor. And she just saw everything. Like if you put up, you know, I put up the dumbest Fringe play and she would come and, you know, give her feedback and be honest. And anyway, so she saw this play that Jason put up, and she was on the board of Playscripts at that time. And she was like, oh, you should send us the play script. So he got published there, and then he started working there. And then, you know, so this was when they were really trying to build their catalog. And Jason was like, Ian, if you could write like a 1-act play that is appropriate for high schools, that has a big cast, we could, you know, he knew my work, and he was like, I think we could get you published. And, you know, at that time, and still to this day, there is no one who was offering to publish anything I had written. So, it took me, you know, a minute to sort of figure out sort of the genre and how to write for schools and sort of for like the Playscripts catalog. My goal at first was just to write like a couple and just to say like I was a published playwright, and I thought I was going to stop. So I wrote 2, and, you know, they got done by like 5 schools, and I was like, that's amazing. There's like people who's reading my work. And then I sort of had this idea. I was like, I think I sort of figured out, you know, maybe more the structure of how to write a vignette play that would be easier to produce. That was 13 Ways to Screw Up Your College Interview, and that one, like, the
rest is history.
Yeah, that one really blew up. So then after that, I was like, oh, maybe I should keep writing this, and maybe this is something that could be a sustainable income.
Gratifying to have your stuff produced and to know like the meaning. Like I watched you, like you said, like doing it as almost like an experiment or just to get something published, and doing it as a way to get some income. And I watched him, like that may have been how it started, but then it became like he would talk to students who had done his play in a festival, or a teacher who was like working on it, and it became something different, I think, where it was like, it was also so creatively fulfilling, because we write a lot of stuff on spec, and we write a lot of stuff that doesn't see the light of day. And it's so nice to know that you can write plays that kids are going to hold in their hands and memorize and perform.
And it's just like a net positive. There's so little in this world where you're doing a job and you feel like it's like absolutely sort of a net positive. Like, you know, it's like, oh, maybe you got this thing bought by Apple, but then like, what is Apple, the corporation? And like, who's actually seeing it and blah blah blah. Whereas
I mean,
this
I
is
don't
like,
have any qualms with Apple. I just want to put
know.
that out there.
I know.
If they want to buy my script,
If
that
you
would
wanna
be
just
buy
like
my
fine.
pilot,
just
please.
hypothetically, yeah, or even just the developmental process, which is usually
Yeah,
like
which is-
you're dealing
which is
with
painful
executives
and
and they give you
uncomfortable,
notes
yeah.
and nothing ever happens,
Yeah.
and this is like you're getting it in the hands of young actors, and it's either the thing that's going to turn them on to the arts, which is really exciting,
I
or
know,
it is
yeah.
the only play they're ever going to be in, which is also like a huge
Yeah.
honor to think that
Yeah.
you're like taking up some,
Yeah.
you're part of that opportunity for them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we just talked about that with Don Zelitis and Jonathan Dorff at Texas Thespians. I know you guys know Jonathan
Uh-huh.
from The Alibis, right?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Of course.
but,
and Don
And
as
Don.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. But we were just talking about
Yeah.
to them about how like it's really cool to be in this catalog and be a lot of people's like first experience being a part of a play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we both
Super
remember, it's like vividly the plays we did in high school is like seared into my brain and my DNA. And
I've worked a little bit in like theater education. In my 20s, I was working with kids, and you see the benefit that it has for the kids, whether or not they are going to go on with it. Arts education has a real role to play in human development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I try to make it clear. I think that like, in this process, like high school theater teachers are amazing, and I think are the ones who are actually doing like God's work. like
Whoa, God's work. Damn.
yeah.
Huge.
So, says I'm the person who's not religious at all, but fine, whatever. The higher powers work. I mean, honestly, I try to, whenever they email me and we communicate, I try to like bolster them up because it's such a hard job. And it's unappreciated, but it is so vital, I think, to the development of just like a young person.
Yeah.
Young artists,
So to be able to have like a small part in that, to just be able to be like the vehicle that helps them to do that is meaningful.
And to answer your question because in a shorter way than Ian answered it, because that was a little lengthy. I came to writing first. I was performing and just not getting a lot of jobs because I'm not that good of a performer. So I was like, I am gonna start.
Disagree.
I was gonna say I also disagree. We'll talk about this in a second, but I saw Carrie perform in something like years before we ever even had this conversation. So I also disagree.
I think we've established that you're very kind, and but so to me it was a way to give myself some performance opportunities. Is how it kind of started. I started getting into improv comedy, and I was like, well, I'm just making it up anyway. I might as well write it down. But I would say if Ian were not in my life, I don't know that I would have really seen writing as a viable option. I think, like he said, he has a really he has like a compulsion to write, but he also has a really great process. I mean, he works, he writes, he finishes what he writes. Most of the vast majority of the time, he is really like serious about it. He has craft, and I think that being married to him let me see that. Oh yeah, I have all these like janky half ideas that I'll scribble down or write in a fugue state, and then there's more to it than that, and like. I can actually go back and finish them and craft them and get feedback from friends and make them better. And so, yeah, I think I learned a lot of that by
Did you start, Carrie,
one.
did you start like writing, would you say you started writing with the mind of like theater, or were you focusing more on like sketch and like comedy stuff or TV and film? Because I know you guys have done even novels. You guys have done so much, and Ian, obviously you came up really heavily like going towards the theater world like in college and everything too. I don't know if, Carrie, that was the same for you.
I think it was theater first. I mean, I don't know. What did I start writing first? I think I was writing like characters and like a one woman show type stuff for myself to do at the beginning. And then it just kind of took off, and I realized I really liked it. And
sketch shows.
But I also wrote a pilot in there.
Yeah,
that
you were
was
writing
one
a
of the first
pilot,
things
and you were
I
also
wrote. I don't know.
directing too at that point. You were like directing shows. So
I
you
started
sort of know how to,
directing
like...
sketch at UCB and a little bit of that, and that's it's all people try to silo you and tell you not to do certain things, but it all informs your work. Working in one thing just makes you better at the other thing. So I don't really know why anyone demands that you devote yourself to one specific thing.
Yeah, and even though I was I acted for a while out of college too, and I don't do it anymore.
He was more successful than I was, by the way.
Well, that's
a
not
great
true.
actor.
But
He
I
just
was in an episode
walked
of
away.
Law and Order.
Oh
for
my
one
gosh.
scene.
2.
Yeah.
2
Two on
episodes of Law and
Order.
Order? Take that, couple that wrote Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, I'm sorry. How many grisly murders did they
Yeah.
witness?
None. Probably
but
none.
I think the acting training is like vital to how I write. I think it is so
Yeah.
helpful, and to
I'm
be able to
amazed by
pitch
writers who
and-
don't have that background and who still write good dialogue. They must just have really like wonderful imaginations.
yeah,
but like
good ears.
to
and-
me,
yeah.
it's like I am like really acting it out in my head a lot of
yeah,
the time.
yeah. So am I.
And we,
Yeah.
I mean, this is not in order or anything, but like something about our process when we work together is we read everything out loud, even like not plays. Like we read prose out loud just
Yeah.
because language is an audio thing.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have done so. I mean, we absolutely don't have to go in order because that does kind of start. You guys have done so much together, having written like theater. Both of you have written sketch and novels and films and stuff. Is there like a process? Does your process switch between the different things that you've written? Is there something that you two feel like as a writing team write the best or like most like naturally as a team or separately like that you write? Is there a project that's been like the most difficult or something that you've like taken on and you've been like, oh my gosh, this is insane? Like what has that kind of been like spanning so much and like having spanning so much of the genre and having your process kind of adapt?
Yeah, I mean, it took a while, and we definitely had like a couple projects. Like we tried writing a couple screenplays, and it didn't go well. And like then we went to marriage counseling, and now it works great because we know how to like communicate with each other.
It was couples therapy.
Yeah,
Highly recommend.
it has honestly helped us a lot. But I mean, I would say for me, and I think you agree, the novels were by far the hardest.
Well, that was because we never. I
Yeah.
mean, we weren't planning to write a novel. Is what happened, and so
Yeah, where did
we
that
sort
come
of
from?
It basically, I mean, I think this is a good example of how, we had sort of these different career paths and we come together, and it was sort of the culmination of both of ours. It started out as a movie pitch, which Carrie found out there was this company that was asking for scripts.
through UCB, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's how I found
Yeah.
out about it. They were looking for
sweet,
like
yeah.
comedic scripts, so I was getting the breakdowns through UCB, and I was like, "Hey, do we have anything that we should?"
So we came up with this
And they
idea.
were high school related.
Yeah, they had
so
to
that's
be
why I was like, "Oh, Ian, you've worked so much in this space. Like, why don't we have an idea together?"
So we wrote like a 1-page treatment for a movie, and they never got back to us. And then later, I was pitching with my friend a television show.
A separate writing partner.
A separate writing
who is
partner.
That's ridiculous.
David Ritura, director,
Yeah,
wonderful guy.
Yeah.
Not me.
not Gary. Yeah,
That's
Which is
insane.
weird.
That's-
But
we're
yeah.
we're poly writers. Poly.
We're probably
So anyway, Dave and I were pitching this company, and this company was like, we have this is called Temple Hill Productions, and they produce stuff like Twilight and The Maze Runner. So they had like a history of producing YA stuff in the movies, and so they had an agreement with a book publisher where they had sort of like a first look deal. So they said like, if you had any ideas that could be a book, let us know. And I was like, I don't know, we'll look. And we pulled up this Margot Mertz idea and we sent it to them. We're like, I don't know, could this be a book? We've never written a book. And they were like, yes, it could be a book. And they helped us develop it sort of like piece by piece by saying like, well, why don't you just develop like a 10-page treatment? And then they're like, well, maybe it could be like a 20-page treatment. And then they were like, why don't you just write the first chapter to make sure you could write? So by the end of it, we had written 10 chapters in this 20-page treatment.
It was a lot.
And, it took so much time. And if we'd known that at the start, we would have been like, no way. But because they were smart and tricked us,
Well-
they got us to write this proposal. And because Temple Hill was attached, and, I guess because we did an okay job,
the
someone
initial,
agreed to publish it.
This
So-
is fun. The initial publisher passed on it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
So we were like, oh my God. We just
Yeah.
wrote so much, which is unfair to say because a lot of novelists have to write the entire novel. We didn't do that. We wrote about the first third of it, but still, it felt like a lot to us.
Yeah.
And they passed,
Yeah,
which was
but
kind of
then-
a blessing because we had a few other. Then it went out to wider, and then we had auction because there were 3 publishers who ended up being interested, which is
Yeah,
good
that's
because
awesome.
there's not that many publishers out there. So it ends up having a happy ending.
Yeah, so then
but-
that's how it happened. And like we didn't know what we were doing, and like we'd have meetings and they were like, "We see this as a series. Could you write another book?" And we were like, "I guess. We don't have a plan for it." But so then they bought it as a 2-book deal, and we had to like finish the first book and write the second within like
To answer your initial
year. So it was
question, yeah, we had a child at the same time. We had our first child. So it was demanding in a lot of ways. It was a like very busy time. It was also, we wrote the second book during COVID, or actually the first and second book
the first
during
and second
COVID.
book during COVID.
It was like it was a really grueling schedule where we were writing about a chapter a week. Sorry, 2 chapters a week. 2 chapters a week. We each wrote a chapter a week. But it, I think, was instructive. I think we learned a lot about how to like really get things done. I think an interesting part of the process that I think is important that I can share for those of you who are writers and who like collaborating, because we're so comfortable with each other. Something that would happen is we would like go off and write something, a scene, a section, a chapter, whatever, and then show it to each other. And what we would normally do is just trade our stuff and then go and rewrite the other person's stuff. And I would have his, and I would just like rip it to shreds and write my version of it and whatever. And he would do the same to mine. And then we would trade it back and take a look at it and be like, oh, I want to murder this person. What did they do? What did they do to my thing? And we instituted a discussion that happens in the middle here. So like we each go off and rewrite something. Then we come back and we read it. We trade and read. I'm sorry, I'm not making sense. We trade, we read each other's, and then we instituted a discussion where we say, hey, I liked what you wrote, but this is what I'm going to change. I think it needs to be more this. I think this character needs to have this. I think, etc. And then when we, rewrote each other's work, there wasn't that like protection, like that ego thing that comes out and is like, wait, why are you hurting my
and
what
I think also we were trying to go so fast, we sort of blew past the part where we were just like, we're like, hey, some of this is great, or even if a large section of this doesn't work, there are parts I do like, and let me explain why, so it's not just it's bad, it's that like,
but that goes for the book, but
me.
I think in general, like what was happening for us collaborating is we needed to add in just like a little bit more kindness to each other and a little bit more of like going step by step and explaining like what changes we wanted to make and why, because we were so comfortable with each other that we would sometimes be cruel and just be like, well, this piece is shit, like cut that out or whatever, like whatever. And we don't want we don't want to do that. And I think now we are like much better at and even like when we come to an impasse and having like a difference of opinion about something, we have found, I mean, it's truly marriage counseling skills. It really, I mean, because you, instead of saying like, well, this scene is just not supposed to be like this. It's not supposed to be this funny. It's supposed to be more heartfelt, whatever. Just like dialing back and saying like, why, like going back and being like, I don't know what's happening, but when I get to this point in the script, I'm feeling like a little bit bored, or I'm checking out, or I'm feeling
or I'm
like
confused.
I'm getting confused
I honestly don't know
about
what's
why
going
this
on.
and going like underneath the reason versus like the one line that we were fighting over or whatever. And always when we kind of strip it back and go deeper and deeper, like then we can have a better conversation, and that's when we always like move forward. We're like, oh yeah, I agree. Like let's do, like it so quickly can resolve the issue versus like getting trapped in the minutia of that one line or that one scene that wasn't working or whatever.
Yeah, and especially when you're like going fast, like sometimes you're reading the pages, and if you're just like confused or it's like not what you thought it would be, your initial instinct can just be like frustration. And it's good to like take a breath from that, try to figure out why am I frustrated, like why isn't it working, and like explain it in sort of a calm way.
And just remember that you're on the same team.
Yeah.
We both wanted to be.
And almost always, like, once we sort of figured that out, it was, like, way easier.
Yeah.
We were spending less time, like, arguing about stuff.
Yeah.
And
I also would credit my improv training for that, too, for myself. Because I think when we disagree about something and I'm like, oh, I really want it to be A, and he really wants it to be B, I think that I can let that go now and say like, all right, well, let's scrap A, let's scrap B, and let's find C that we both like. And I believe it will be every bit as good or maybe better than what I was attached to in the past.
Yeah.
I think that comes from like doing a disposable art form for so long and just training your brain to.
I wanted to ask you about that because I come from the Chicago comedy scene. I was at IO and Second City for like 5 years. And
great.
Yeah, I was on like a Herald team there, and I wrote for Second City, and then I came to New York and started writing for play scripts. So it was like a pretty big. I felt it was a really big turn, having like carte blanche access to kind of say what I want and like create a scene without any like censoring or like BS or anything on the stage with my friends and my people, and then like writing for like a very specific catalog for a community that I wasn't really even thinking about before. So I was wondering, Carrie, like, with your background in comedy, especially like UCB and like Funny or Die and stuff like that, how did this like style of comedy or this edgy comedy kind of affect your writing, specifically when you're writing for the play scripts catalog? Did you feel like yourself pulling back, or did you feel like it was like helpful for you, like joke writing when you were writing like Influencer Nation and stuff like that? Because I feel like your guys' scripts, especially the stuff you guys co-write, has some of like the quickest comedy in the play scripts catalog. I feel like the jokes just move really fast. So I didn't know if that came from that background a bit.
I think it's a good challenge, and I've written in that space a lot where it is supposed to be funny, but it can't be. As much as you can't use certain language or you know, you can't curse. I think that's a good challenge. I think that relying on stuff to be, you know, wait, can I curse on this? I already did on the podcast.
Yeah, you already did. It doesn't matter. It's fine. And here's the thing. If you can't, KJ will edit it out.
Yes, that's great. I don't know. It's tricky. The one thing I will say is I do like things that are like a little bit subversive, and every once in a while I have to stop myself and just be like, oh, the kids and the parents, they don't want that in this setting necessarily. But then, you know, you can take it someplace else and use that little kernel of an idea for something else. I think also finding moments to be subversive within the context, those are like some of my favorite moments where I'm like, ooh, I slipped this thing in, and it's not a bad word, but it's like a dark idea. Yeah. Somehow it got in, and like audiences. A lot of yours are, I don't want to say political, but like political. I mean,
some
sort
are.
of. Yeah. I mean,
some are not. Some are
some are very silly and fun. But like you have some out there that are like, I think, very elegant ways of showing how absurd. I mean, Ian has a play about fascism, right? Or no? Yeah. That I think is timely and doing some stuff, and it's so palatable. I mean, I don't think that many people do it because it is a play about fascism. I don't know how popular it is, but it is it's down there, especially after January 6th. It's so good. Yeah. Less popular. So I think it's I mean, I think you're better at that than I am at just really trying to like just see what you can. Yeah. Kids are what we said about the book when it came out, because the book deals with some like Margot Mertz series deals with revenge porn and some uncomfortable topics, but like what I always said in interviews about the book is that the kids are seeing it, and the internet is there, and they are not like, if you think that they're not seeing it or hearing it or talking, they are aware of the situations that you guys are talking about. Yeah. I just wanted to circle back really quick so I could compliment you, because Justin said something that I think was very observant. That he said like the plays we write together have like some of the quickest jokes and stuff, and I think you're right, because when I first started out, I wrote more vignette plays, and then I've tried to write stuff that have had more plot, or, you know, just sort of challenge what it is you could write. But whenever I get a good vignette idea, I always come to Carrie, because she's, since I started writing, you know, a much better sketch writer than I am. So I'm always like, please, God, help me do this. And I think you are picking up on that the fact that there's like so many quick jokes is from Carrie, which she is
I think, better at me than now, and really will like sit with the joke. Will be like, what is the best joke? What is the best joke?
Well, that's
and
just
I'm
because
like,
I'm neurotic.
I've checked out. I'm like, I don't know. These 5 all seem funny. Like,
Yeah.
I can't
You're
figure
the
it
I
kind
out.
feel
of
like
writer-
that is like the sketch comedian in you, because I feel like everyone who's like written sketch in like Chicago or New York or LA has all like been in a room and argued about
Yeah.
a joke that like
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
one
Where
of
you're just
9
like, let's
jokes
beat that,
on the
let's
page.
beat that, let's beat that. You can beat
Yeah,
that. You
you
can beat
keep
that.
on
you
trying
can
to
beat
level
that.
it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have no patience for
Yeah,
it.
it's
I'm
funny
like,
because- well,
the second one's fine.
No,
I
it's
think.
good. Actually, I think it's good that we have different styles, because Ian can be the kind of writer who is writing something and he'll just like leave a blank spot where he's like, oh, this needs to be a line about blank. Like, whatever it is, this needs to be a joke about whatever, or this needs to be a line about how to operate, a computer's hard drive, or this needs to be whatever. He'll just kind of leave a blank line. Whereas I, as a writer, or whatever is wrong with my brain, I can't do that. Like I was recently writing a feature that's like set in the Regency time, and it took me like a year. It took me so long, because every time I got to any specific, I would not just leave a line, which is bad. I'm not advising this to any writers out there, but like I would just get completely fixated on like, well, what would the name of the handbag be if they were going to a ball? And I have to find the answer to this, or I can't write the rest of the scene. And I would just like do research on that stupid fact forever.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can't turn in scripts with like blah 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 or like blanks, which I've I haven't done that in a
You
while.
did.
It seems like you both like really complement each other really well. Like you both like kind of push and pull on that like intense specificity, but then also the like willingness to like, I don't know, like move forward
Get it
and
done.
find the best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like get to the
Yes.
end.
Yeah,
I'm
it
someone
sounds
who's like, if
I mean
slow
that's
me
awesome.
down, just get to
I
the
do
line.
want to ask another question, because I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to a lot of the listeners. So many people who listen to this podcast are high school theater directors and teachers and professors. And Ian, you're kind of, I put it in like, I always send our guests like a list of questions that I'm going to ask. I stand by this argument that I feel like you've kind of coined and are like one of the kings of like vignette style theater. Like
Wow.
your plays 13 Ways to Screw Up Your College Interview and its counterpart, 21 Guaranteed Ways to Get Detention, 9 Worst Breakups of All Time, have over like 2,500 productions across just those 4 titles. Like, what was it like? Okay, was there a playwright or a certain type of writer that inspired you when you started writing these vignette plays? Or did you feel like you were kind of building this? Because I'm not going to lie, I think a big part of the reason why I host this is because I recently wrote a play called Community Garden that's in the Play Scripts catalog. That's a vignette play that's been doing like well or whatever. But when I came in and I first like signed with Play Scripts to like write some plays for them, I was handed like 5 plays and was like, hey, like read these and like figure out what you want to write. And I was handed 13 Ways to Screw Up Your College Interview, 21 Guaranteed Ways to Get Detention, and 9 Worst Breakups of All Time. I was like,
Oh, no.
those are the first 3 plays I read in the catalog.
Oh,
when I
that's
was
too much.
Sick of him.
Ooh.
I literally was like, I'm not kidding. Those were like the first 3 plays I read in the entire Play Scripts
Whoa,
catalog
that's
when I
wild
like
to think
first
about.
was told by the team at BLG, hey, we want you to write in the Play Scripts catalog. So what was it like starting and like writing those? Did you feel like you had like other people writing at the time, or did it feel like you were kind of building this style?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was in some respects building. Like I don't think, I'm trying to think. Like when I was in high school, I remember like really liking Christopher Durang, but I wouldn't I wouldn't say that was like a template, because this stuff is
You
like
can't
so edgy and out there.
do Christopher
Yeah.
Aside from The Actor's Nightmare.
Yeah.
And I saw a production of Ed Monk's Cut, which got published by Play Scripts. So that was just a play where I was like, wow, that's like really good, and it's written for high schoolers. And
But what about like Check Please?
I hadn't read it. So okay, anyway. So I think I was like coming up, and my friends Jason and Brendan worked for Play Scripts. They were starting to write stuff, and they sort of knew the catalog. And like I said, the first couple of plays I wrote were very much like, it's a main character and they sort of go on a journey, and they didn't do very well. And then I read Check Please, which I think still is the like most produced play in the country, or at least
It's
was for
definitely up
20.
there. Check Please
Yeah.
it does crazy numbers. Yeah.
So I read that, and I just sort of saw the sort of structure of it, and I was like, oh, that's what they mean by write something that's easy to produce. It's like da da da, And at that point, I was also interested in sketch. I was like writing a lot of sketches, and I didn't do UCB, but I was just like writing a lot at that point. So I was like, oh, this is kind of a vehicle for sketches, So I think I mirrored, especially for 13 Ways. It's very much like one scene, next scene, which is very much like check, please. And then once that did well, I would like mimic that, or I would try and think of, like, Bad Auditions was, just like an idea I had. And then I realized there were already plays called Bad Auditions, so I didn't write it for a while. But then I was like, I like this idea, whatever. Like, there can be room for more. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was basically ripping off John Rand. That's how it started. Was just, and luckily he has not sued me for
That's huge, and that's awesome, and that's why you guys are better than the Yellow Jackets writers. But before I let you go, I have a question, and we kind of hit it a ton throughout the interview. I personally think co-writing is like one of the toughest things to do, and I wanted to know, like, was there a moment you guys realized that you loved writing together specifically? Is there like a favorite project that you guys have done? And also, you guys have said so many, but are there any other things that you love about the other as like a writer? Is there something that they do that you're like, oh, this is so great as like a co-writer, that like I have this on my team kind of thing?
I like him for story so much.
Yeah.
And for ideas. I love his ideas. He'll be like kicking something around, and you'll see him like walking around the house, kind of like talking to himself, and I'll be like, "What's going on?" And there's a new idea in there, and so I think I love that. But I also, I like everything. I mean, we riff on jokes together. I mean, we do it all. But like, I like that. I'm trying to think if there was a moment, like one specific moment. Yeah. I don't know when it was, but I have been fortunate to watch Ian grow as a writer. I always liked his writing a lot, but he has gotten so much better like throughout, like, we've been together for like over 20 years. So a really long time. And I watched him be a wonderful writer with some like challenges. Like sometimes it would be hard for him to write like specific style of dialogue or even prose.
I was
like
terrible
you were
prose.
just not.
Yeah.
And
or like stage directions, I couldn't write it all.
Yeah.
It was always like, he enters the room, that was it. He opens the door. And
but he's just like gotten. It's like such a gift to watch somebody like grow and master that stuff just by virtue of like working at it. And so I think, I don't know. That's something I like. I don't know if that's the moment I realized I don't know. Yeah. I don't know it when we like working together. I don't know.
I think definitely we'd worked on stuff before, but I think definitely the book was like the
I think we had a lot of pride when we finished that.
Yeah. But also like realizing that it was like, I think before then there was some like, it wasn't competition, but I maybe was having a hard time like supporting Carrie as she started doing like improv comedy, because it really like took up her life, and it just created this whole new identity. And I think it took writing the book for me to realize like, wow, you really have like, that whole process was like so big for you and so important to your growth, and you're so good at collaborating now, like, and you're so much more confident than you were before. Like you can really go into any room and work with anybody.
Yeah, because I used to like dramaturg for Ian, and I would have like thoughts about his scripts, and I think you found them helpful, but it was a different dynamic where like I could only offer my feedback, and he was ultimately the writer, and he would take with it what he would, but then when I started writing and we sort of kind of were wearing like more like the same
hats,
it was like a little
there
bit
were just so many times in the book where like, I don't know, we would come, usually we could figure it out, but we would come to sort of like loggerheads, and we couldn't figure out what the answer was, and we'd have to ask our editor, this person who was helping us, and I feel like 9 out of 10 times they were like, oh yeah, we like Carrie's choice. And it was very much like humbling and freeing to be like, great, like I don't,
really
I knew I don't know. Honestly, it was like, okay, we're at loggerheads. Just to know that I'm like, because I think before I was very much like, I'm the writer and I'm writing this all myself, and I'm the creative person, it has to be my voice. And this was very much like, I don't know everything, and I'm not always the right person for every, particularly Margot Mertz, because it was written from the point of view of a teenage girl who's very much written in Carrie's voice, which was
Yeah.
was my pitch initially and why I wanted to work on you.
Yeah.
I was like, I think this would be. I'm hearing your voice when
You
I
are
imagine
making
this
it
character.
out to sound like you had more of an ego than I think that you did, but I think that you might be right. I think
I had
there's
an
some
ego.
part of you
Yeah.
that was like,
I did.
well, and rightfully so, because you were, whatever. But I think you're right. I think there was a part of you who thought you maybe knew better sometimes. And I think I very stubbornly, with at that point very few credits to my name, was like, no,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We got past it. I really love. I love working with Ian.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, and then also quickly, I think before
Yeah.
we did the book, we wrote a couple of Lifetime movies together, and I think that was some of the most fun.
It was so fun.
we had.
We
because
had
it
our
was,
friends over to read them out loud.
It was just so low stakes, and we knew what it was, and it was we both just got the genre, so it just came out very quickly, and it was very much we'd turn in pages, and they'd be like, "Cut that," and we'd be like, "Sure, I don't care."
Yeah.
It's a
Great.
Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
I want to ask one thing because we do love on this show getting tea or getting the scoop. Also, I just love hearing what people are doing. Is there anything you guys are working on either together or separately or anything like that you guys are excited about?
Let's see here. Yeah, so I'm about to pitch an animated TV show, and I have no idea if it'll get made, but I'm doing it with my poly writer, Dave Ventura. That's set in a world where dead pets come back to life, and it's about a news reporter and his dead pet who solve crimes. And yeah, I'm really excited. We've been working on it for so long, and we are finally going to pitch it. So fingers crossed to
Heck yeah.
the streaming gods that one of them likes
Oh,
it.
please.
I know.
Come on,
My
yeah.
God.
Cross those fingers. Yeah, and so we wrote a feature together this year that is loosely about. I won't say too much about it, but it's about some girls in 1997 who go and see Titanic for the first time, and then I as I said, I wrote a Regency feature that's completely unsellable. That no one wants.
Here's the thing: people who write in that, I don't know if you guys have read Kate Hamill stuff, but
No.
every
I'm
time
sorry.
she's the queen. She was on last season. She's the queen of adapting Jane Austen for the text.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I read her stuff, I'm I don't know how you know all of the little things within this period piece.
I think
It's crazy.
that, I think if you like Jane, you get sucked in, and then it
Oh, yeah.
becomes,
Yeah.
at least that was the case for me. But yeah, so we have a few things like
Yeah.
that we're working on. We have a bunch of other things in the pipeline, or that were ideas we're batting around.
And then play-wise, I have an unauthorized full-length comedy adaptation of Monopoly, the board game, which I have no idea if it works. It's really gotten away from me. So I'm hoping to have a reading soon, and it'll either I don't know who it's for. So I hope it is good. I've really gotten in my own head about it. We'll see.
I'm excited to
Carrie
read it.
has not read it.
I
It's
haven't
been one
read
of
it.
I was
those.
gonna
where I'm
say-
Is there a part for me?
there is. There is.
Who would I be,
don't-
Boardwalk, or is that
The thimble. The thimble or the cat.
Yeah. Maybe they all are names whose last names are Thimble. It's sort of crazy.
That's- Hey, if
I
the
don't
theater
know
world
what
has
to
said anything about Sandy Rustin and her adaptation of Clue,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we need more scripts that are based on
Based on
board.
board games.
based on
Yeah.
board games, or movies based on board games.
So we'll see
Yeah.
that. I'm hoping that'll come out in 2025. And then I have a one act that I'm in the last phases of rewriting that's about it's sort of a world where the corporations have consolidated into one giant corporation, and it's about a family trying to not use that corporation for a day. So it's sort
See?
of like a wacky
A little
vignette.
subversive?
Yeah, a little subversive.
Oh, that's
A little
rad.
bit.
No, I love hearing about this stuff because I know so many people that listen to this have performed your guys' plays and produced them and directed them in high schools, and I know now they're just going to be looking through their emails from play scripts, waiting for Monopoly reviews. So yeah, we thank you guys so much for being on the show. I cannot say thank you enough. Ian McWethy, Carrie McCrossen, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. This was
so
great.
much.
Thank you, Justin. And
And that's our show. Thank you guys so much for listening to this first episode back of the Scene podcast. I've been your host, Justin, joined by my beautiful, wonderful producer and editor, KJ, and also our producers, Leah and Zach. I want to thank the entire team over at The Scene for helping us make this show. I want to thank Ian McWethy and Carrie McCrossen for being a part of this. If you want to support them, go check out Ian's plays, Bad Auditions by Bad Actors, 13 Ways to Script Your College Interviews, Superheroes. There's so many. Carrie's stuff. I'm just a Don't Blame Me, I'm Just a Playwright, Influencer Nation, I Did It, The Alibi. There's so many good shows that they've done together. Go read their novels, because I know that is literally something that I want to go do. Margot Mertz Takes It Down and Margot Mertz for the Win. And yeah, guys, oh my gosh, we're friggin' back. Follow me on Instagram at Justin Borak, or follow this at The Scene News. Check out our website, thescenenews.com, I believe. Look at all of that stuff, because we'll keep you updated on what's going on with the podcast. But I'll tell you right now, we have some really sick interviews coming out very soon. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to end this episode the way I end every episode, by acting like a uncomfortable freshman actor in their first college scene study course. And they just ended a performance, and they don't know if any of the faculty liked it. So take a deep breath. And scene. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.